Hi, I'm Chris Gasper, and this is Globe 10.0, joined today by Paul Dupont. Well, Tom Brady certainly has a lot of toys to play with this year. There's no question about that. Chad Ochocinco thrown in the mix. You still have Deion Branch, who's one of his favorite targets. Wes Welker, old reliable there. How about those young tight ends that made such a huge impact last year? And then you have guys like Taylor Price and Brandon Tate, some young receivers trying to make their way. Kevin, out of that group, who do you think is going to have the breakout year? Who's going to surprise us?
If we go back over the years and look at some of these guys, I mean, the one I suppose was the best example, you go back to 94, 95 with Ben Coates.
Yes.
Around for a couple of years, then he has these monster, you could argue 3-4 years. I don't know if there's a guy like that. In the context of this question, I would look bigger and younger, so I would go with Gronkowski. Hernandez not as big, faster, a little more sleek. I don't see Gronkowski as the guy because he is so big, but on the same hand, Ben Coates is pretty big, so it can happen.
Gronkowski is a great target around the goal line. There's no question about that. Last year, 10 touchdowns. I think it's going to be Hernandez just because he is so versatile. He's like a tight end and a wide receiver. He's a mismatch guy. You can flank him out. He was very productive last year, but he didn't fully understand the offense, and Brady didn't fully trust him. He had some issues against zone defenses. His routes weren't always precise. I think he's cleaned that up a little bit. I think he's a guy that could benefit and be a little more down the field threat, which they don't really have in the receivers. Ochocinco's not that down the field guy.
And that's the great part of this question, I think, because if you say breakout, I think, okay, this is a guy who's going to have 800 to 1,000 yards.
Okay.
Does the yardage really matter? No. All that matters is get it over the line, and I suppose that points to Gronkowski.
It does. No, that absolutely makes your point to Gronkowski.
But breakout, I think, is the guy who's going to, at the end of the year, say, yeah, he's right around 1,000. He was 987 yards, and he's got 14 or 15 catches. That's probably more toward Branch, right? I mean,
it could be.
Group.
I mean, I don't know.
Welker's more the guy under coverage.
Welker's going to get a lot of passes thrown his way. The interesting thing about this team, though, is there's so many options that I don't know if we're going to see anybody with huge numbers. If you're one of these fantasy football people, I don't know if you want to pick any Patriots receivers. Maybe the tight ends, again, Gronkowski, because he scores touchdowns, and those are worth points. But I don't know how many catches, yards these guys are going to get because the top receiver with the Patriots is always the open receiver.